Greetings. Today I'm going to do a little reading for myself um, that I originally had done, and I think I did a video on it at Round Milk at 2018. I might even have done this reading for a friend as well, or someone. I think I did a couple of these readings. I used the Druid Plant Oracle cards because the spread actually was suggested in the back of the book that goes with those cards, and I really liked it a lot. But I haven't really used that spread much with other decks and tarot decks, particularly for myself, anyway. So I thought I would give it I thought I would do it again because I like the spread a lot, and the spread is something that I'm thinking of using as one of my normal spreads for readings that I do for other people, readings that I sell. And I thought this was a really good. It's kind of a quick. It could be quick read, but it gives a real thorough read because it is talking about the elements. It's talking about how the elements are balanced for you, how you are reacting. Where do you have a sense of imbalance? Are you off with the element of water or with air, or where do we need some work maybe to get you feeling a little bit more balanced, functioning perhaps as a as your highest possible potential. Maybe even for healing purposes, it's a really good reading to do when you have especially some emotional problems, depression. This is a real good reading for that. So I really wanted to put this in my inventory, in my offering, so I can offer it to others. But before I do that, I always like to try things out with a couple different decks, because when I sell readings, people usually they're free pretty much to, like in person at least, when I do readings in person, to choose a deck that they like. But when I do just readings for people that I'm doing over Zoom or on just a YouTube video, a private YouTube video, I like to pick the deck. And I like to pick a deck that is something that I'm working with at the time that I know is reading really well for me. So it can vary depending on when somebody wants the reading, what decks I'm using at the time, what I might choose. So before I offer a reading for sale, I like to experiment a bit with the deck and see how it would read in different circumstances. So today, it was sort of a coincidence because today I've been working with the Shadowland tarot, which is, if you remember, I've done some readings with this for you before, and this is such a fun deck. This is all about in the shadow, doing shadow work, but doing shadow work it's not too serious. It doesn't take it so seriously. The monsters, the whole premise of the book are the monsters that are inside us that we carry around in shadow, are things that we should embrace and enjoy and love and sometimes even be amused by. And the illustrations in this deck, that's the expression of them. That's how they're expressed, the cards. So I wanted to see how this deck would read with the elements. My first reaction was this isn't going to read that well. Well, the funny thing is I got the book out today, yesterday. I got the book out and I was looking at it, and here in the very back of the book, they have listed some spreads, and here they have something they call the 5-card element spread. Isn't that a coincidence? Maybe not. And it's just pretty much exactly the same as the one that I got out of the Druid Plant Oracle. So there's nothing really new with spreads. People use them and borrow them and share them all the time. But I was real excited to see, since the author of the Shadowland thought that this was a good spread to use of the deck, I was more than happy to give it a try. And I have to say, I was really, really delighted with my outcome. So I want to share. I did the reading, I looked at this for the first time yesterday, but as is my practice, I spent a while. The readings usually sit for a while on my table before I take them away. And that's the way I do most of my readings. When I sell readings, I usually do, do the actual deal out the readings, lay it out like the day before probably, and live with it for a day so that I can really see everything that it's wanting to show me. Rather than just like in person at a fair or something, I will just, because I have to move on to the next person, we're just giving cards. It's a little more random, but this way I'm getting a little more information because I'm able to sit with it a little longer. Anyway, that's a lot of that's a lot of information maybe you don't need. But anyway, I want to tell you how happy I was, and I want to share this with you. The reading itself is based on when we say a 5 card elemental spread. That confuses a lot of people because we think of the elements of earth and air and water and fire. That's four. That's four. Where's the fifth one? Well, the elements in Wicca, at least, and in many practices, are based on the pentagram. Okay, the pentagram, which is a 5-pointed star. Excuse me. I always get the hiccups when when I go to talk to you. I don't know why. Excuse me. Based on a 5-pointed star, and the 5 points, because the 5 points represent one of the 5 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and the fifth one being spirit. It's sometimes called spirit, sometimes called other things, but it represents, so it makes a whole. It's a whole. The spirit could be, the spirit world. Talk about the spirit world. It could be the divine spirit. It could be your innermost, your core self, or your best self, your highest self, whatever. But it's all of them together making everything, all that there is. Okay, so that's the idea of 5 equal points equally spaced on a star. Okay. Now, the author of the Druid Plant Oracle originally put this spread out using this points that represented throw me off terribly, because it's like cartomancy. It's like they're not. When I think of, because I'm a Wiccan, when we cast a circle, we have the elements represented on the outside and our altar inside, and we go to each space, each of the 4 quarters, and we make the sign of the we do a pentagram, an invoking pentagram, whatever, um, calling in quarters. Okay, calling in the elements, calling in the spirits of earth, calling in the spirits of water, calling in the spirit of fire, and calling in the spirit of air in that circle, within that circle. And of course, the god and the goddess, the deities in that circle. That represents the whole. That represents everything in balance, everything in accordance, everything there together at one time, putting the force together to do what? Do what? Be anything. I'm kind of kidding. But anyway, so the idea of the spread is to bring in balance. This is what we need to do: advice to get ourselves into balance, to get ourselves to be the best we can be, our higher self, our spiritual, to develop our spirit, to the fullest of its potential. What road should we be on? Where should we be looking for cracks? For cracks in the foundation, for places that maybe need a little tweaking, or the relationship. What is the problem with me? Why am I so emotional? Why am I so, why am I depressed? What is depressed? We can look for some clues in the tarot spread. Not a doctor, not a doctor. We're not going to do that kind of healing, not even a psychiatrist. Not going to do that necessarily, but this is something that really can give us some places to go to look. Okay, so as I said, the reason I'm going through this blah, 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 about the pentagram is because I'm going to lay my cards according to, earth in the north, and fire in the south, air in the east, and water in the west, because that's the way I do it all the time. And then when I look at it, I can identify that's water. Where if I lay it the way they wanted me to in the Druid Plant Oracle on the points, uh, I go crazy because it's like kind of backwards and upside down and inside out or whatever. So I'm laying them north, south, east, and west, and in the center is my spirit card. Okay, and I'm going to change my camera and I'm going to show you my spirit and talk to you about what happened in my reading. This is a personal reading to me, so there I am, spilling my guts out to you and showing you all my bits. But you're going to see one thing entirely different when I turn my camera around. See if you notice. I hope you can see the cards okay. They're a little big and they're a little, they're watercolor, I believe. And so they're a little maybe hard to see. I can hold them up a little higher to the camera when I'm talking about each card. But I wanted you to notice one thing that is different. See if you can guess what the one thing that is different about this reading than some of my past readings. I'll give you a few seconds to try to think about it before I tell you. And you might have guessed, if you did guess, the center card is upside down, face down. You're correct, because it's turned that way because of the way it fits in my camera. But really, it's because this is a card that is over. First of all, it's over my pentagram, which is going to represent in my reading. That's how I'm going to represent spirit, my spirit card. And I'm going to leave that overturned because I don't, in this case, the spirit card, this card representing the place of spirit, this is advice or helping to achieve balance, about how to achieve balance with all of these other cards. So it makes sense to me to read the other cards first, and then we're going to worry about this later. I'm not going to worry about that until it's time to read it. Okay, and this one we have here in the East. This is the East. To me, this is the East. And this is the Nine of Cups representing the place of the sword or air. Okay, and then I have in the South, we have fire, the place of the inner flame, which is, in my case, fire, okay, here in the South. In the West, I have the representing water. I have the Moon card, and the Moon card is in the place of the well. This is the emotions and stuff. And then here we have in Pentacles in the position of the North of Earth, the place of the stone. It's called the place of the stone. Okay, so I'm going to go through that direction. Card 1, card 2, card 3, and card 4, and then finally card 5. It's the spirit card in the last. Okay, so I'm going to start in the East with the Nine of Cups. And here I'm going to show you. If I hold it up a little better, maybe you can see that. I really hope so, if you can see it. It's a really cute card. This is wonderful. But in the Nine of Cups, here is represented. We think of the card as, first of all, the Nine of Cups is called the wish card by many people. And it usually is a wish come true, something that you wish just happened. But here we have it in air. Okay. Okay, first of all, just keep in mind that this is representing air. This is representing, this is going to answer the question, the role, the intellect, how my thoughts are affected or judgments, how I communicate. This card is going to represent how I'm communicating right now, or what my thoughts are right now. Okay, and here, the cute little card here is represented by a whale. I don't know if you can tell that it's a whale. You can see the water behind it, and of course we can tell it's a whale because of the spout coming out of the top, and the cups balancing in the spout. Looks happy as anything. The whale has a cute little grin on its face. But the cutest thing about the whale that we have to realize is the whale is standing on the ground, on the land, on the sand, on the beach. And it has little shoes, actually has little shoes and little striped underwear, which is totally cute. But it's satisfied, it's happy, it's fulfilled, okay? And this is all well and good. But because the whale is standing here on the beach, we're supposed to be reminded that this is a temporary state. This is celebration, feeling of celebration, feeling of joy, feeling of, something being fulfilled. It's temporary. And if you can remember back to a Rider-Waite version of the Nine of Cups, the man is sitting with the cups behind him, and he's sitting on a wooden bench. So for him, it's temporary as well, because he can't sit there on that hard wooden bench forever. He would get tired of sitting there pretty quickly. But that's it's meant to be a temporary situation. Okay. And also, this is about living in the moment, living in the moment. Let's celebrate now. We got to this place. Let's just stop what we're doing and just take time to celebrate, because who knows what tomorrow may bring. And that is the idea. So the message from this card that is coming to me from the Spirit of Air is saying to be present in the moment, to ignore the past, to ignore what challenges might be coming in the future. Okay, which is kind of a really important card for me, because I'm a worrier. I'm a person who thinks things. I'm a person who thinks too much and too long. Easy. No, it's okay. Thank you. Good boy. That's a good boy. Okay. Louis was a little put off by the trash man in the front. He doesn't usually see out this window at this time of the day when the trash collection is happening, and he's kind of insulted by the whole thing. So pardon him. Pardon his rude interruption. Okay. Anyway, I was saying this card is telling me to be present, to ignore the thoughts that are constantly going through my head, the thoughts of worry, and also not worry about what has happened in the past. I get caught up in this so much because I have a really good memory, and I'm always remembering the past and worrying about the future kind of thing. That's kind of my nature. And I get very caught up in my emotions. And interesting that this is a cup of, it shows the cups, which is a card of emotion, card of that kind of thing. It's a feeling card rather than a thinking card in my place of air in my reading. Okay, so this is something that's a pretty strong message to me, that is something that I get a lot, and I need to get it a lot, I have to admit. Um, but also, I want to say the question, one of the reasons I love the Shadowland Tarot so much is there's points to consider on each card. There's some questions to ask yourself, and one of the questions was, how do I react when I receive gifts or compliments? And I think that's an important part of contemplation for me, because um, I I'm that's I sort of struggle with that kind of thing. Receiving compliments. Like I'm never really actually sure what the compliment's about. If it's I worry sometimes, is it sincere? Is the compliment sincere? Um, are people giving me gifts because they think they have to? It's just too much thinking, too much worrying, too much. You need to put it aside. This card's saying put those things aside and just deal in the moment. Deal in the moment. Be happy for what you have accomplished. Be happy where you are right now. Be happy this is a good state for you. Things should be working out okay. You don't have any big major problems to worry about. You don't have any big worries that are coming up in the future. This is a good place. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. Keep your head clear. Don't put too much into it, and enjoy the moment. Okay, that was pretty interesting. Okay, moving on. This was fun for me. In the South, the place of the inner flame. This is where the seeds of inspiration bring enthusiasm, creativity, new ideas, how I direct my passion, how I should direct my passion, my energy. Um, and here we have fire, the card of discretion. And discretion is number 20 in this deck, which 20 in the Rider-Waite, of course, is the judgment card. And I love this so much. This is one of the things, another thing I love about this deck so much, the new perspective it gives to the cards. Because so often we look at the card 20, the judgment card, and it tells us so much that, it's a time of, it's a like a, we see the picture on the Rider-Waite of the people rising, the dead rising up from their graves, ready to meet the angel, ready to meet the Gabriel. The trumpet is playing. It's like the come to Jesus kind of a thing. A lot of people call it the come to Jesus. It's the reckoning with where you've come from, but it's also at the end of something. It has that life is over. Some new life is coming, and it's about letting go of your old self. It's not so much a judgment being placed upon you, where of just making up for your atone for things. That's not what the judgment card is all about at all. It's about letting go of that old self, stepping into the new version of who you really are. Who are you really now? And this is an owl flying high up in the sky with his little red boots on, free to wear his little red boots if he feels like. That's the confidence of him. He's supposed to be wearing the little red shoes, little red boots. But he's flying high. And I loved it so much. Right away, I could see he is seeing from a higher perspective. He has seen from that high perspective. And if any of you remember, oh, some of you had to have been along with me for a long, long ride to remember way back, I don't know how many years ago, when I first encountered Bird. And I began my relationship with the crows that are in my yard. And I talked about my relationship with Bird, and I did some videos on about Bird and some journal entries about Bird, and um, Bird being up in the birds, the crows in our neighborhood here. There's a row of cypress trees between our house and the next door neighbor, and they're very, very tall. I don't even know how tall they are. They're so tall, and the crows love to go at the very, very tippy top and perch up on the very, very tippy top and call out to their friends. And I was sitting here one day and I was realizing the perspective the crows see. They can see so far up at that high perspective, getting away from the ground. They getting up high. They have a whole new perspective of things, a different perspective than we have from being down here on the ground. And I was saying at the time, I was saying how I need to start seeing things from a different perspective, start seeing things like they do, step back away from things and look up. I mean, get up out of the way and look from a distance to see how things actually are. Okay. That is freedom. The quote here on this card said, I can see from a higher perspective that discretion represents freedom. Well, what in the world does discretion have to do with this? What does that have to do? And it says, it's about judgment, that kind of a judgment that you put on people, that kind of a judgment that you put on yourselves. Um, When do I feel criticized, or when do I criticize other the most, is a question to contemplate. And it says a confident and balanced person does not rely on the validation of others to alter their final decision or actions. This is a lot for me. This is especially coming in this position of fire here in the south, in the position of fire. Um, that do I worry too much when I'm doing my creative projects, or my energy? Is it affected by how I think others are perceiving that? Absolutely, it does. Absolutely does. When I feel criticized by others, when I feel criticized or um, overlooked by others or slighted by others, I lose my sense of, I just, that's when I get depressed and I lose my sense of energy. I lose my sense of creativity. Okay. I worry too much about what other people were going to think about me. I worry, I'm at the age, I have to be honest, I worry about my children. They talk about me that we're like I'm a crazy person. Sometimes I think they think, like, what am I doing next? Oh, what's she doing next? It sounds kind of funny, but it's not so funny to me all the time. Sometimes it's kind of hurtful to me. And I want to tell you that where is the balance here? I need to, my balance is not relying on the validation of others, not to validate it, not to worry about it. Also, not to worry about what's happening with their, take care of my own business, take care of my own business. And discretion sometimes is also for me is keep not interacting, not overreacting when something displeases me or whatever, not overreacting, stepping back and taking a look. We want to be the owl and fly above it and get a good look before I speak. Get a good look before I speak. So that's sort of an interesting idea for me. Directing my energy into my own stuff and not to other people's stuff, which I think I'm pretty good, but I'm not so good at not bringing other people into my own stuff. I think that I have to stop worrying about what other people are thinking. Okay, so that was a nice card. Now I'm in the moon in the west. Oh, was this funny? That here we go again. We're in the west, we're in the water, and I'm a water sign. Cancer, 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 water, water, water everywhere. Cancer, 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 moon child. And what do I see but the moon card? So the water in the place of the well is all about my emotions. It affects my feelings. It also can affect my intuition and those things. But in this case, most of the time it's feelings for me right here how I feel because I'm putting in balance, how I'm being in balance. And this is a cute moon card because, of course, we know the moon could be deceiving because the moon, we don't see clearly in the moon, first of all. And here it shows a little girl going down a road, taking her pet lobster for a walk. I don't know if you can see that, it's really cute. And there's the scary moon, has this wolf face. And wolf, we know the story of Little Red Riding Hood, the wolf um, deceiving, trying to deceive her. Okay. So this is all about her journey, representing something she does all the time, going down the road, taking her lobster for a little walk down the road, even though it might be scary, even though she doesn't know what's going to happen. She's even though she might, it's frightening with the wolf there. This is something she does all the time. It's a pattern of repetition. It's representing a pattern. Every month the moon comes out and she takes her lobster for the walk down the road. Every month it happens. Every month it happens. This repetition, not knowing what it is, but it happens all the time. The message here given from the guidebook is, if I stay on this path, don't fall don't fall for any tricks of this wolf. I can make it to my grandmother's house. Despite how frightening it seems to be, she will stay on that path. Okay, it says, if you have drawn this card, you're being asked to determine what is illusion and what is real. What do I imagine? What are my feelings? Are my feelings based on something that's real, or are my feelings based on something that is not real? Something that I've just made up. It's like the story that, the story that, am I seeing something that is making sense of the story that I made up in my head? Which that keeps coming back to me over and over again, that whole idea. And it says here, to try to suspend my judgment until I have more information and can see things clearly. I cannot see things under the light of the moon. I need to wait till I see things clearly. Again, it's the same thing here. I'm looking for a different perspective here. Okay, it's affecting my energy level. It's affecting my creativity, my projects, my pride in what I'm doing. And here, of course, it affects my feelings. Worrying too much about things that maybe I don't have a clear picture of. I need to wait and get a clear picture. Suspend making a judgment. Suspend making that judgment call until I get a clearer picture of what's going on. Okay. Then I have the Five of Pentacles. Oh, I love this card in this deck. This is almost sad to me. It's so sweet. The Five of Pentacles. Maybe you cannot see, but here we have a little river in the middle. And here in a wooded area, here we have a family camping. And they have a little fire. It looks like they're toasting marshmallows and they're having a really good time. And here's across here is Bigfoot or Sasquatch or whatever you want to call him. He's Bigfoot, like a one of those creatures that people think live out in the woods. And he's glazing apart and he's going, he'd really like to go over and join them, but he thinks he's like this big gross thing, and if he goes over there, they're just going to scream and run away, and they're not going to want to play with him. Okay. But then we look closer, and we see that this one guy over here is he waving to him? Like, hi, come and join us. Is that what he's actually doing? We're not sure. This is about feeling, here we have the place of the stone. This is how we fit in, maybe fit in where we fit in our home, our family, our friends, our place of business. And this card is about, feeling maybe a little bit like that we don't maybe fit in, that things aren't going so well for us, and we're feeling bad about ourselves and feeling maybe lonely or whatever. And here he is in this position, feeling apart from a group that seems to be having a good time. He's feeling apart from that. But the card says you can change your situation by, all he has to do is wade across this figurative river in front of him and introduces himself. Okay, perhaps you are the only person who sees yourself as a large hairy beast. Okay, so this says this is not a time to be a witness to your own life. You are encouraged to be a participant in your life. Okay, and the question that I'm asked to ponder is, how do expectations and disappointments factor in my own feelings? Well, I have a lot. This is a lot that's going on. I'm not going to tell you, all my private things. But I have felt this separateness from groups lately, in a lot of different groups. Pretty much every group that I'm around, I have this that I don't really belong. Even with my own children, they're all young and I'm not, and they like to do things that they want to do without, us being around. And friends, I have friends who they seem to have much more fun time together than they do with me. Or, I think we all have these kind of feelings. But this card is encouraging me to and participate in my own life. I don't know until, am I again making a judgment? Is this something that's real, or is this in my head? Do I need to step back from the situation and take a better look? See, so these are all cards are relating to these cards all relate together. They work so well together. They play so nicely together in this reading that I really am enjoying it so much. It's just such a good, I'm getting a really good picture that there's no card in here that's surprising. So when it's time for me to turn over the last card, the Spirit, this is the card, the place of the Spirit. This is maybe advice from the spirit world, or it could just be something that I know myself is intrinsically there in my core self, that I know in my gut that this is what I need to do to achieve this sense of balance. How do I get all this in balance? And look what I pick. What do I pick? The Seven of Cups. Again, Cups, another emotional card. But the Seven of Cups, traditionally we see it is just all about being overwhelmed with all of these choices, so many choices, and what do we choose? And are they all really good options, or are they some not and some good? And this card here in this deck, same kind of thing, pretty much the same thing. And it says, you have a lot on your mind. You may be overwhelmed by choices of what to do. It says, it is important you do not shut down and avoid making decisions. Examine the differences between your wants and your needs so you can remain objective. And then rank your priorities and consider your choices before choosing. Okay. Don't just think about what an outcome might be. Actually choose something and see what the outcome is. Follow through. Don't just get caught up in your thoughts. Don't get just caught up in your fears or your imagination. Don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in the worry until you know what is really true, what is really true. You must escape, and you must follow through to avoid the escape. My spirit guide, or whatever the spirit place of spirit, is advising me to just know the difference between what is real and what is not real, to make a choice and live with that choice. Make a choice and see what happens. Be a participant in my own life and see what happens. Don't get caught up in thinking. Don't get caught. And man, I'm telling you, this is a good reading for me, because I know, just like many of you, during this period of isolation, this period of quarantine, we've had like nearly 2 years of this coming up this spring, that we're just our relationships are just not normal. Our situation is just not normal. We are spending much too much time on our own, much too much time thinking and worrying, and not being able to plan, that we don't know how to plan. If any of you saw my video yesterday, you know that I'm all about planning this year. When I didn't plan, my life just sort of fell apart. You have to pretend maybe things aren't normal, but that doesn't mean we can't plan. That doesn't mean we can't plan. That doesn't mean we can't do some things. We can't, have some situations. We can't follow up. We can't. Um, so, so anyway, I thought this was a great reading. I thought it was a great reading. I feel really good about this. I'm going to come back and look at you again before I leave. I'm laughing because I just had a really good ending on my video and I didn't record it. So now I have to think of what I wanted to say. Thank you for watching the read. I think it was a fun read. I was excited that this deck worked well. I love the deck. I love it. It reminded me too to get out my little, you remember when I made the little bag? I have a couple of decks that have no bags. I'm going to make a couple more bags. This was a really fun project. I'm very happy with it. I love the deck. I want to say it really works well with this deck. This reading worked really well. I like it a lot. So this is definitely going to be one of the readings that I put up to sell. If anybody's interested in buying a reading, I'm going to be redoing my website, which I'm going to reflect some new readings, some new prices, some new information. I'm also going to be coming up with a new class schedule. I'm going to be offering some classes, some workshops, different things. If you're interested at all in getting the information before it comes up on the website, just email me and find out what's going on. Tell me what you're interested in. You can email me at goodwife, the same spelling as my channel name, goodwife at cox.net. I'm happy to share the information with you, and you can get on a list for classes, or tell me you want a reading or whatever before I get them up. But I will be saying, I will be offering, I'm going to continue my, the readings that I do on YouTube, private YouTube readings. Those are up all the time as long as you have the key, the whatever to get in. Your reading is still there. I never take them down, but it's only available if you have the link. So it's totally private. Nobody can see. And also, you can watch that over and over again, or you're going to have a new option this year, starting this year, of having a Zoom reading with me, and having a chance to really interact with me over Zoom. It's perfect for that. It's perfect for that, to do a reading that way. So I'm going to have a price list for that. A little different pricing, I think, for that. But anyway, it's all going to come. The information will come. Eventually, you'll see it. But don't panic if you want to know. If you really want something or want to book a reading or whatever, just send me an email. We can talk about it. Okay. Thank you to the author of this book, this deck. I love it, Monica Budersky. I love I love it again. Every time I get it out, it makes me smile. The deck just makes me happy. So that's the sign of a good deck to me. If it makes you happy, it's good. So if you have it, let me know if you like it. Maybe you could try doing this spread. Okay. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And thank you to those who have subscribed to this channel. I'm so thankful for your loyalty as I go through all these crazy times. But I know a lot of you have been with me from the beginning, and I really appreciate it. You don't know how much. Okay. And I will see you soon.